Good morning, Southland. So here's my testimony for now. Um, First off, it actually hasn't been that long since I turned to Christ. It's only been about a couple months. I recently accepted him in the fall quarter at my college. I'm a first year, but now I'm getting baptized, and I think that's something to be kind of proud of. So before, I never really considered myself Christian. I always thought that I was more agnostic. I always wanted proof that God was there, but I never really understood the actual importance of him in my life. I only ever went to church when a friend or my family dragged me out on Easter, and I go through the motions of worship, go meet new people, and to be honest, I never cared too much about it. Every service I went to, all I thought about was just, Mom, when are we going home, please? To add salt to my own wounds, I had quite a big ego, big enough for God to see from heaven. High school was probably the worst, but the best thing that could have happened to shatter my egotistical perspective on the world. Thinking that I'm better than everyone else, but not really accomplishing anything. Never accomplishing more and never working hard enough. I couldn't understand at first. By my junior year, I hated school more than anything else. It was here that I experienced my first existential crisis in my lifetime, and it wouldn't be my last. I realized I was a year away from graduating, and I really didn't have anything figured out for a future career. Everything that I was dreaming of doing, I always closed it off because I was I never really thought of it hard enough. I never worked towards it, and it was just something that really hurt me, I guess. However, in this time, it was here where my curiosity in God increased. I was always wondering why people came to him, wondering, being open to the idea that maybe he could help me. It was enticing enough for me to at least try to experience him in college, at the very least. It came at UC Riverside because a campus ministry known as Soon Movement offered me free ice cream the first week of school. And I was like, all right, this is pretty dope. It was this freebie that got me to, I guess, begin my journey with Christ. Listening to sermons and witnessing the love and trust people put into God was a bit of a shock to me. But I didn't really judge because who was I to when I wanted the same thing, but I never gave it a chance to. Being able to reflect on the sins I committed and just feeling very guilty about it, it was for the bad deeds I carelessly committed, it had me rethinking my life up to that point. It had me thinking, what did I want in my life? I would say I received Christ as Lord and Savior when I went to a conference for Soon Movement called Higher Calling. That's when I listened more and more to sermons, different testimonies, and seminars, and I began to understand the weight of the sins that I had, and I wanted to be forgiven by just anyone, and that's where Christ comes in. Jesus dying for my sins was something I always knew about. It was always in my head, but it didn't click with me because I never truly understood the importance of his sacrifice. But now I understood. I realized the showering of love that he always tried to give me, but I chose to ignore. It was no longer about me desperately grabbing for control of my life. It was no longer trying to steer a ship that was already sinking. But God came to me and lifted that ship back up and drove the ship with me. In my relationship with Christ, I first experienced a physical change. I looked cleaner, less angry and moody, and cared more about myself. I also changed characteristically as I strived to be more mature and showing more compassion and patience, while enjoying and appreciating the life that God had gifted me. Life is only lived once, and having a new purpose that is led by Christ makes my outlook on life much simpler, easier, and just much better and brighter. Most importantly, he gave me reassurance that I can be saved. Someone like me who hadn't accepted him for such a long time is able to come back to him and reopen a relationship with him. I could confidently say that anyone who knew me before would be very surprised by the change I underwent, always saying, oh, I never thought you would be the religious type of guy. But I think it's just something that is really nice to have. It's actually something nice to hear. I'm still learning and growing because I'll never be perfect, but we can always work to be the best version of ourselves. And the one driving that idea is God.